60% of these peptides that people are advertising, or should I say fake products.
Is there a link between the MMR vaccine at 1 year of age to autism?
No, absolutely not. There's no if, ums or buts. When it comes to the MMR vaccine and autism, there's absolutely no link. When they investigated and looked at the study that he did, it was actually all falsified data.
Antibiotics for kids, does it work or doesn't work?
Well, it does work. There's no question about it. There have been studies to show that drinking water is just as effective as taking these cough syrups. It's a bit of a money grab. Coughing is actually a natural reflex that we have. So if you actually aspirate where you get fluids into your airways, coughing helps clear that. Inappropriate levels of testosterone in a young, healthy male can lead to systemic issues, right? Long-term use of testosterone can lead to heart failure. And the worst thing of all, you get the hypogonadism, shrinks your testes. Some males will say, I'd rather die than get this, right? My issue is with the scope creep, all right? Or they'll go as far as to say, oh, we're just like medical. Don't compare yourself to a medical doctor because you're not a medical doctor. Compare yourself to a chiropractor.
And there's a lot of synthetic peptides from China, which are being sold.
You've did well to reach our page so far. Make sure you follow, share, subscribe, and like. We are proud to announce that we've partnered with CoreAssist Disability Services. If you or anyone has a disability, you can follow and contact CoreAssist and they will go above and beyond to help you all over Australia. We've also partnered with Imperial Glass and Timber for all your timber needs. This panel, Imperial. We love Imperial. From bespoke joinery to standard joinery, they have it all.
Hi, my name's Dr. Mustafa. I'm a pharmacist and a medical doctor, and I'm excited to be on COF.
Always I start any podcast with the intention, lillahi ta'ala. If it has any impact on even just one listener, then I'm grateful.
Inshallah.
Especially the youth out there. All right, the first medical doctor to join the COF podcast, pharmacist, mashallah, and medical doctor. And you know what excites me when I interview or do a pod with someone who shares the same name with me?
Different spelling though.
I know.
Surprisingly, everyone spells my name with a PH.
That's me.
Even though like I have the handle on me, it says FA, but...
It's ironic because everyone spells my name with an FA.
Yeah, we need to swap.
Even in my email, it's PH and they'll email me back saying FA.
Same thing. I always have my email as, kind regards, Dr. Mustafa with an F, and then they say, hi. PH, yeah.
Oh, wow. That's ironic, eh?
Yeah. So Mustafa squared we got going here.
I know, right? Dr. Mustafa, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
There's a lot of things I'd like to divulge or dive straight into, but the medical scene is so broad.
Yeah.
So we can only go through so much. But what's your journey like? Tell me.
Well, it's a long journey. It's been 10 years to get to where I am today.
I can imagine as a doctor.
Even now, I'm still very, very junior and very early on in my career.
Mashallah.
So I started off obviously in high school, and I was pretty unsure what I wanted to do. I looked up to my dad a lot and my older brother. So my dad's a GP,
mashallah,
and my older brother's a pharmacist.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, he was a pharmacy student when I was doing my HSC or the ATAR. We're listening from different states. So I really wasn't that good at studies, believe it or not. I wasn't motivated. I really didn't know what I was capable of. And I was estimating that I would get like a mystery mark, like I wouldn't do well at all. So then I finished high school. I didn't get a great ATAR and I got into medical science. So I did medical science for a year. And then I did it at Western Sydney, and it's mostly just a laugh with the boys. It wasn't very hard study, and I was really just focusing on having fun. When I finished the first year, I was like, should I continue the medical science degree and just see where it takes me, or should I apply elsewhere? And I decided to apply for Bachelor of Pharmacy at University of Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're unfamiliar, University of Sydney, even when I was applying for it, like it was like a bit of a dream, right? I was like, I'll chuck it on there. Like it's not going to hurt to just click the application button. When I got into Bachelor of Pharmacy at University of Sydney, it felt like a dream come true. Like me, the idiot, I'm capable of this.
You got in?
And I got in, right?
From the first time you applied?
From the first time.
Is this after first year uni?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I did a year of medical science, and then I got into pharmacy at University of Sydney. And that really was like, okay, God's given me an opportunity here.
That's right.
And I really can't waste it. And so I actually really started studying, because before that I would never study. So when I started studying and I got good results, and I was like this is achievable, right? Pharmacy kind of became my personality. I mean, it's in the name, like Mustafa. If you look at my TikTok, it became a whole personality.
It became your identity.
My identity, because like that's the biggest achievement I've ever made.
Even though moving back 3 years earlier, you barely did anything for your HC.
Yeah, and I really didn't think I was capable, or this is something I'm capable of doing.
It was self-doubt or no interest?
No, it was self-doubt.
Okay.
And then I masked it with no interest. Because deep down I was like, there's no way I can do it.
It's so common, but hold that thought.
Yeah.
I find a lot of people mask their self-doubt and lack self-confidence with no interest.
And that's the way you do it. Because if you show your interest in something and you work really hard towards it and you tell everyone, I really want to be a doctor, I really want to do it, and then you don't get in, it's really embarrassing.
Oh.
So what I did, I was like, I don't care anyway. Like, whatever, who cares? What's this HSC thing, this ATAR thing, whatever. Like, I get what I get. But deep down, like, it really did matter to me. So I got into pharmacy and then I went through the motions, and because I was really motivated and proud of myself, I didn't want to lose that opportunity. I kept on proceeding through the degree. I got to final year of pharmacy, and then all my friends, and again, like attracts like, right? So I surrounded myself with other boys that were Muslim and really keen on doing further education, and they were pretty smart as well.
Good environment.
Really good environment. I think they were smarter than me. And they were like, we're going to do this GAMSAT thing.
Oh, GAMSAT, I remember that.
Yeah. So the GAMSAT is the graduate medical admissions test to get into medicine. So you have to have a degree, and then you have this GAMSAT, and then you apply for medicine. So you have to have these things before.
At what stage of your pharmacy degree did you apply for?
Final year.
Final year.
Yeah. So
now you've done 1 year, first year medical science, tick, went to University of Sydney.
Yeah. So this is 5 years in, right?
5 years in.
1 year medical science and 4 years pharmacy. So the final year, and I was like, I'll just join in. So that way when I'm 40 or 50, I don't think back and say, I never tried, right? I'll try to get into medicine. And if I don't get in, I'll be like, okay, this is God's plan. So I sat this GAMSAT thing and we all studied together a little bit. And I sat the exam and subhanAllah, I passed.
MashaAllah.
And I was like, okay, I passed. I'm just going to start applying everywhere. I applied in every single university in Australia, one of which was the University of Sydney, which is where I did my pharmacy. And I applied for USyd pharmacy. I applied for USyd medicine just because I was like, you know what, just who cares? It's a tick box. It's a $200 application. If I lose the money, I lose the money.
They even charge you for the application?
They charge you for everything. They charge you for the exam, $500 for the exam. Everything's charged for. So I applied, and subhanAllah, I got an offer from University of Sydney as well.
To start your doctorate or being an actual GP?
Yeah, so that's when I started.
Not just a doctor because you did it on your honours.
So say that again?
Not just a doctor in any field because you completed your honours.
It wasn't a PhD, medical doctor.
It's PhD, right?
Yeah.
Not honours. You can tell I've been out of the university for quite a while. So now you've reached a stage where you're in University of Sydney.
Yeah.
And you have to do, I know you're traveling a lot.
So then I did 4 years of medicine. And during that time, I obviously finished pharmacy as well. So I started working as a pharmacist.
Which field would you dive into? Would you just open up a clinic and have your pharmacy outside of your clinic and just do both? Cut yourself in half?
I wish I could do that, but that's unfortunately a conflict of interest.
It is, right?
Yeah, I can't start writing the scripts and then going next door to dispense them. That's right. But no, pharmacy really comes in handy in medicine. So, I mean, half the basis of medicine is your pharmacology. And I already know most of the conditions because I already know the medications, right?
Sure.
Because you need to know what the medications treat. So when you enter medicine, like you have that background.
Well, I want to throw it out there since, mashallah, you're a pharmacist and you're a doctor as well, inshallah. Just from the end, tell me, antibiotics for kids, does it work or doesn't work?
Well, it does work. There's no question about it, right? Like there's no question, might this work, might this not work? But I have a feeling that you might come up with that question because you might not see the results that you think that are favorable. And the reason for that is we're overprescribing antibiotics.
Okay.
So a lot of parents obviously want to do something for their kids.
That's
right? Like you don't want to see your kid in pain. You don't want to see them sick. And because kids have such a weak immune system because they've just entered the world, they're going to get sick a lot, right? So when parents want to do something for their kids, they can't. I mean, they're not doctors. So they take their kids to a doctor and then they pressure the doctor or they want the doctor to give them something. Most of the time, these kids have a self-limiting condition, which means it gets better on its own anyway. I mean, they don't need antibiotics, right? But because antibiotics have such a, they're very safe, essentially. If you give someone that's completely healthy some antibiotics, they might get a bit of diarrhea and that's it. They're not going to die, right? So doctors will be like, yeah, look, there's nothing wrong with them. We'll cover our bases. We'll give them some antibiotics. But they don't need it most of the time. Most of the time, it's viral.
So it's oversubscribed?
I do think it's overprescribed, yeah. So yeah, most of these conditions that kids have are viral in nature, and viruses aren't killed by antibacterials, right? Okay. So bacteria is killed by antibiotics.
Then what about, for example, strands of the flu?
Yeah.
Recently, I took a young one to a doctor and he told me, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not a doctor.
That's right. Yeah.
That there's over 10 strains of the flu and she could have one of them, right?
Yeah.
And she doesn't need antibiotics.
Yeah, that's right. So the flu is a virus, all right? So when you talk about the flu, we're talking about influenza.
Yes.
2 words that'll change the way you deal with pain forever. Physio, motion, where Mo really puts you back into motion. You've heard about the infamous knee reconstruction that I've had, the chronic back pain that I've had, and one man helped me go back into motion. Not just that, helped me go back to playing sport when I thought I needed surgery. His name? Physio Motion. Contact him now and mention Chronicles of Faith podcast, and he will ensure that he gives you a tailored program that suits your needs. Don't feel like you're alone with the rehab, whether it's post-surgery, pre-surgery, back pain, lower leg pain, any type of muscle pain. Physio Motion will get you back into motion.
And to correct you, because
yeah, correct me. By all means.
There's the common cold, right, which is rhinovirus, which is what everyone usually gets, right?
It's happening a lot now, right?
Yeah, you get the common cold anytime. It's not even specific to winter, right? The common cold it's actually made up of 200 different viruses. So you can have any one of those 200. And because the common cold is usually, again, self-limiting, it's a common cold, they get better, right? We don't worry about it. We don't want to like over-medicate or give antibiotics for a common cold because it's not going to work. Influenza, on the other hand, is a bit more extreme. So you'll get really unwell, feverish, bedridden, muscle aches and pains. Influenza is a bit different to the common cold. It's a bit more severe. But even then, you wouldn't give antibiotics. You can give antivirals, but usually you want the kid to build up their immunity and build that tolerance naturally.
But a toddler or a child taking antibiotics doesn't have, there's positives, right? Of course, as you said. But if we look at the cons or the negatives, is it true that there's a drop in immunity or a severe drop in immunity?
Not directly. So this is getting very nitty gritty, right? So there are some theories out there that your gut microbiome, so your gut has a lot of bacteria that help, again, with your immune system, that help break down your food. So there's a lot that goes on there. And there's a theory that when you take, this is not a theory, I'll tell you what the theory part is. When you take antibiotics, you're killing off all the bad bacteria that's causing the infection, and you're killing off the good bacteria that's lining your gut. That helps with the digestion and immunity and all that stuff. Now, the theory is some people derive their immunity from that good bacteria in our gut. And if you kill it off, you can, in the long run, contribute to, a lower immunity or difficulty fighting things off. This is more relevant. Now, the studies show this is more relevant in the first few years of life. So 0 to, I think, 2 years.
Early on in the lifespan.
Yeah. So you get that gut microbiome from the way you were born. So whether it's C-section or if it's vaginal, or if, how you spend your environment. So this is referred to as the hygiene theory. So the hygiene theory, it shows that in this day and age, we have a lot of people with immune conditions, even eczema and asthma.
That's right.
Right? We get a lot of like allergies as well to like peanuts and all these things. And that's because in those first few years of life, we don't have that exposure. Back in the day, you throw these kids out, they're playing with sticks, they're eating dirt, they're doing whatever, right? And then they build up that.
So we can't link that back to vaccines causing.
No, definitely not.
Okay.
We can touch on vaccines next because I feel like you want to talk about that.
Yeah, but that was an interesting point that back in the day you were thrown in the backyard.
Yeah.
And you built your immunity by getting sick with everything outside.
That's
you were
right.
Playing.
Okay.
And you were exposed to everything.
You were exposed to everything.
Sand, dirt.
Yeah, I mean, like even if you think about the architecture, this is a very off point. These days we have big houses with tiny backyards. If you look at the houses built in like the 80s, it's like a 1-2 bedroom house with a massive yard.
Us growing up, 1,000 square meter house was a standard. It wasn't like, oh wow, this guy's a millionaire.
No,
it was a common house.
The new lots that are being sold now, it's like 200 meters squared. You're not going to find
insanity.
You're not going to find anything with 1,000 meters. But point being, we used to ride our bikes, we used to go outside. These days, a lot of people are inside. It's a good thing that we're all washing hands and being hygienic, but it's that hygiene theory or being over hygienic that we're not exposing our kids to the environment.
Okay.
So therefore, when something that should be common to us enters that kid, it devastates them because they've never experienced it before.
Okay.
If you want to talk about, I'm sorry to
no.
If you want to talk about, for example, the settlers when they first came to Australia.
Oh, we're going back to the settlers.
Yeah, we're going that far back.
The
right?
Afghans or before or
No,
after?
no. We're talking about the European settlers.
The European settlers, yeah.
When they came to Australia, it wasn't actually the major source of death for the Indigenous Australians wasn't the shootings and the wars and this and that. It was actually the viruses that we brought with us.
How come we didn't study that at school?
We studied in med school.
Yeah, we focus more on the shootings and the unjust killings
because that's horrific, and that's something that we can contribute to and we can stop. We should have said, when you shoot someone, you make an active decision to do so. But when you introduce a population that grew up in a lot of, like, if you remember what the medieval days were, in mud and whatnot. So the Europeans actually developed their immune system that way. And the indigenous population of Australia, they were isolated in an island. They weren't traveling from different cities, different towns. You look at the Middle East, it was in the middle of the world, and it was linked up to all these other parts of the world where they all traveled in the spice trades and all that. Point being, when the Europeans came and they had a good immune system because they've been exposed to these viruses, they brought these viruses with them, and it decimated the Aboriginals.
Could we have referred to it as a plague at the time?
Yeah.
Almost.
I mean, the plague refers to a specific
illness?
Organism, right? But it was an epidemic.
Epidemic,
if you want to talk about, or pandemic, if you want to say.
For the Indigenous community at the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so antibiotics, would you give it to your child?
I would give it if they had a bacterial infection, yes.
Not just a common cold.
And in saying that, there are some bacterial infections that get better on their own.
Okay.
Right. I would only give it if it's necessary. And in saying that, you want to avoid really serious complications like sepsis or a full-blown body infection that, can lead to death. That's when you give antibiotics.
Oh, wow.
But if my kid has a common cold, you just give him some Panadol, call it a day.
How do we differentiate between teething and the common cold? Because I've realized that a child may be teething, but they display symptoms of a common cold.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And that's really should be a medical decision that a doctor should make. I don't think we should be diagnosing these things ourselves. You take them to a doctor, but when you take them to a doctor, don't pressure the doctor to give something. I see it all the time. People come in and they say, "Oh, you're not going to give anything to my kid," and it's understandable because you wait, 2-3 hours in the waiting room. You take time out of your day. You leave work and you expect something out of it, and the doctor says, "Oh, just go home and take some Panadol, give some fluids." It doesn't sound like you're getting anything out of it. You're not getting your money's worth, especially these days when you actually have this. You have to pay money. It's not like before; it's just bulk billed, right?
Not all centers are bulk billed.
Yeah, but when your doctor says, "Look, it's just viral. Take it easy. Give them some rest, Panadol, whatever." Just don't pressure them to give antibiotics because then they can give antibiotics, but it's not helping your kid.
Yeah. Look, I've had a couple of good doctors, in my opinion, where they actually told me your child doesn't need antibiotics. And I was like, I'm not for always giving antibiotics as a parent. But then I said, are you sure? Like, I was just surprised because of the state of how the child looked. He said, trust me, you don't need it. Just Nurofen or Panadol every 6 hours, right?
Yeah.
Now, there's a famous doctor going viral in Dubai, I think. He wears glasses. He's a bit chubby. He's got awesome videos, just as 1 minute 30 videos.
Yeah.
He said wearing his white robe, is it a robe?
White coat.
White coat.
Yeah.
Wearing his white coat, he said that cough syrup, don't give it to your child. It's a hot take.
Depends on what kind of cough syrup. Is it like a... Personally, I'm not a big fan of cough syrups.
Okay.
I really don't think they work that well. So there's been studies that show that the chesty cough syrup, when you have a chesty cough and they got a lot of mucus on the chest, there have been studies to show that drinking water is just as effective as taking these cough syrups. It's a bit of a money grab.
Wow.
Right? And if you look at the ingredients, there's actually only like 2 ingredients that treat these chesty coughs. There's bromhexine and guaifenesin, right? And then if you look on the shelves, there's 1,000 different products. So there's a lot of marketing going on. And if you read it, it all has the same ingredients. It's the same stuff, right? But personally, if someone has a chesty cough, just thug it out.
No need for cough syrup.
No, I don't think it's necessary.
Okay.
Now that's a chesty cough. There's dry coughs, which are really lingering and nagging, and they last a while. Again, I'm not a big fan. Like if you have like an interview or if you have work and you need to suppress it, fair enough. You just take it for the symptoms. But there's usually a root cause, and the root cause could be postnasal drip. Like you can have allergies where the mucus that's, you get a runny nose, it runs down the back of the throat, tickles the throat, and then that causes the dry cough. So obviously if you're taking cough suppressants, you're not treating the runny nose that's causing it. Other times, if you're asthmatic, you need to cough. When coughing is actually a natural reflex that we have that allows us to open up our airways and breathe. right? So if you actually aspirate where you get, fluids into your airways, coughing helps clear that. So when you're suppressing a dry cough in an asthma patient, you're masking a symptom. Okay. So this is all nuanced. I wouldn't blanket statement say cough syrups are horrible, don't take them. But I wouldn't say, every single person with a cough should take a syrup. Each person should have a tailored treatment to their condition.
Case by case.
Exactly.
And what about for toddlers?
No.
Same? No.
So the main cause of what we call respiratory depression, which is lung problems, or should I say, I'll reword that, sorry.
Yep.
The main cause or one of the main presentations for kids coming to the hospital is respiratory depression. Okay? So the main cause of kids coming to the hospital is breathing issues.
That's right.
And when you're taking these cough syrups, the dry cough syrups, it suppresses the airways.
Wow.
Okay, so you're making it worse. This is in children. The main cause of cardiac arrest, again, in children, in hospital, is respiratory depression.
So cough syrup will actually
make it worse.
Yeah. Wow.
Let them cough, right? It's annoying to us as parents. We're all working. We all have lives. It's annoying, but you're not giving them the cough syrup to treat yourself.
Well, the parent was a child once upon a time who used to cough too.
Yeah.
So
put up with it. Give him something soothing, right? Give him something soothing like hot soup, whatever. Honey after age of, I think 6 months.
Not 1 year.
It depends. 6 months to 1 year. But maybe the literature might have changed. But when I went to med school, I think it was 6 months.
6 months. So you can give honey to a young child.
Yeah, you can give like a 2-3-year-old. I'll give him honey, little tea or something. Just something to soothe the throat, but nothing medicated for that.
What's prevalent now, and I completely understand, and I'm on the fence. Well, not necessarily on the fence, but it's a very controversial topic, right?
Yeah.
The vaccine schedule.
Okay.
Was it the same as it was in the 90s and the early 2000s? And is it true that there's so many more vaccines introduced over the years?
There is more vaccines. Yeah.
Okay. Is there a link between the MMR vaccine at 1 year of age to autism?
No.
Why is that?
Absolutely not. So I can confidently say no. Okay. You'll see that every other question you've asked me, I've been able to be like, oh, well, in this condition, you can do this. There's no if, ums, or buts. When it comes to the MMR vaccine and autism, there's absolutely no link. So this all comes back and stems back to one guy, right? So one guy, his name is Andrew Wakefield. He was a gastroenterologist who came up with this study that showed that there was a correlation between kids who got the MMR vaccine and autism.
Which correlation means a slight link for that.
So not even a link.
Not even a slight link.
Not even a link. Like, I mean, there's lots of things that are correlated in the world, right? Like you can, there's actually a website that shows this some weird correlations. It's like how much cheese people eat and like, how much fuel a car uses. Like there's these weird correlations that come up in the world that make absolutely no sense.
Okay.
So just because something looks like it's correlated doesn't mean there's causation there. Okay. Now, when you come up with a correlation, it shows that it needs to be further investigated, right? So the scientific community saw this and were like, oh my God, like this is something serious. Okay, we have a vaccine that there's some correlation here. When they investigated and looked at the study that he did, it was actually all falsified data. So when you do an experiment, whatever the data is, whether it's right or wrong, you write it down and you publish it, okay? He had data and then he falsified it to make it look like there's a link just so he can get some, what we call clout, right? Just to get some fame.
Before clout was common.
Before clout, yeah. I mean, before there was no TikTok, right? So you have to come up with some way to become famous.
Viral.
Andrew Wakefield. So it comes to one guy. So they redid his study and they reviewed it over millions and millions and millions and millions of cases. And then they found there was absolutely no correlation, causation, or any link between the MMR vaccine or any vaccine and autism.
What do we find that when we were at school, and maybe I don't know how old you are, but I'm assuming you're of a similar age to me.
Old, yeah.
Or maybe a bit older. When we were at school, it was uncommon to have a child who unfortunately suffered autism, right?
Yeah.
Compared to now, almost 1 in 4 students, or not 1 in 4, but there's a large number of students per class who have some form of autism.
Yeah, so I can give you theories and I can give you facts. So the facts of the matter is, for now, we have a lot more knowledge about autism, right? So up until 50 years ago, we didn't know anything about this autism thing, right? I'm sure there's autistic people out there, and people just put a label on them. And don't take this the wrong way, but people say, "Oh, this person's just crazy," or "This person has
they threw it out back then.
Yeah, this person has an intellectual disability. Something's wrong with him, right, or her, or whatever. Or this person is just weird; they didn't fit in, right? But now that we have advancements in technology, advancements in our knowledge, right? Our field in psychiatry has expanded, in pediatrics has expanded. So we look at these things and we say, okay, so we can actually understand what's going on here, right? Autism spectrum disorder has been understood more. Whereas before, it just slipped by. And even now, there's adults. So we talk about our generation. There's people from our generation that are being diagnosed with autism.
That's right.
Because they're finally being picked up. So one amazing thing about autistic people, and this is specifically prevalent with females, little girls and women, they can mask and mimic, right? So just as a recap, autism is kind of a disorder, or it becomes a disorder when you are unable to socially interact and have social issues. Okay, so it's a social problem. And that's when it becomes a disorder. So you can have autism without it being a disorder. That's why we call it autism spectrum disorder. And a lot of people can just function just fine throughout their lives, and make it through work and uni and all these things, and then not realize that it's actually a thing. So we're picking up more, to answer your question, we're picking up more autism these days because we have more knowledge about it.
What about those children who had no speech issues and were completely verbal? And then coincidentally, after taking the 1-year vaccine, right? I think it's 3 shots.
Sure, yeah.
Their child became non-verbal and they started to display traits of severe autism.
Yeah, so this is, like you said, it's a coincidence, right? So this is another correlation example. So it can look like that they got that vaccine and then all of a sudden they became non-verbal, right? But sometimes that's the natural progression of the condition, right? Kids show developmental delay or difficulty reaching their milestones. And then we try to find a cause and try to find the most recent thing that they did. But if they drank a cup of water right before, then they drink water every day. If you drink a cup of water, you're not going to say, "Oh, that water caused the autism."
No.
Or if that family has a lot of, biryani, are you going to say biryani causes autism? No. It's just something, we're giving these vaccines throughout their livelihood anyway. And it's going to happen whether they have autism or not. If they didn't get the vaccine, they would have still developed the autism. And the thing is, they're kind of born with autism anyways. It's a developmental delay.
Okay.
In some cases.
Would a child or an infant have underlying issues which is exposed later on in life?
Yeah. It happens all the time. Sometimes it also works the other way around, right? Sometimes people have childhood asthma and then they grow out of it.
I had asthma at 14.
Yeah.
I never had asthma.
Yeah. Sometimes they come on later on. Sometimes they get it and then it goes away. Sometimes it's a timing thing.
With newborns, why do they have to be injected with a needle as soon as they're born?
The vitamin K shot?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are some conditions where kids who have bleeding disorders or undiagnosed bleeding disorders, and you can look at actually in history, we had a high infant mortality rate. So a lot of kids early on would die straight after birth, and people wouldn't know why. And then there are some conditions who have recently discovered, not that recent, but recent in the history of humanity, that show that people with bleeding disorders can bleed out after birth. Birth is actually a traumatic thing.
It is, yeah.
Right?
It's traumatic.
It's traumatic. Like, it's physically traumatic. Like you can push through a small canal.
That's why it's mentioned in our religion that even if you held your mother on your back and you completed Hajj with her,
it's not enough.
That it's not enough, not even for one talqa in Arabic, which is in English, contraction that she suffered.
Yeah, that's
right. So it is very traumatic.
It is very physically traumatic for both the mum and the baby. But to circle back to your point, some kids have a bleeding disorder where they haven't formed these clotting factors in their body. Like if I cut myself right now, my hand will clot and then that will stop bleeding. These kids haven't developed their clotting factors yet. So we give vitamin K, and for all these people who love the natural stuff, it's a vitamin, right? You get it from spinach. You give them vitamin K to stop any potential bleeding that there might be. And it's been shown in research that people who don't get that can bleed out and have a brain bleed and die.
And there's another one they give as well. There's a vitamin K shot. And is there another one? Or is it the 6-month vaccine? The Hep B shot?
Oh, the hepatitis ones.
Yeah.
But that actually gets hepatitis.
Yeah. So what does a infant take hepatitis shot?
Yes, this one actually is pretty controversial.
Yes.
Because hepatitis is, this day and age, we don't really see it that often.
Yeah.
Unless you see it from, it's a STI or you see it from needle stick injuries or shared needles. It is a bloodborne virus, but we do give it to kids so they develop that immunity. So when they grow up and they get exposed to hepatitis, it's not an issue to them. Or if they do get exposed to hepatitis, it's not an issue for them. You'd want them to build up that immunity earlier on rather than later on, right?
What about those parents who decide to delay their child, so delayed vaccine schedule, and their belief is that they're waiting for the child to have a stronger immunity before taking these vaccines. So, for example, the 1 year vaccine, taking it at 2.5.
Well, that's like saying, I don't want to go to the gym today. I'm going to wait for my body to get stronger, so then I'll go to the gym.
Whoa.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't know if I agree.
I'm not gonna bench press today because I'm waiting for my chest to get stronger. Then I'm gonna do a bench press. It
so
doesn't
there's
make
no
sense.
such thing?
So let's go back to what a vaccine actually is, right? And how immunity works. Immunity is like, imagine a computer RAM, right? It's a lot of memory and it's blank. Maybe not a RAM, so it's a
hard drive,
right? Your immunity is a hard drive, and it has a whole lot of unlimited memory. And the way to get memory stored there is by downloading a file. And we do this in the physical world by getting introduced to the virus or bacteria or the pathogen that causes the disease. And once we fight it off, your body learns about this virus or this bacteria and it remembers it in that little hard drive. Now, in the process of fighting off of an infection, you might actually get a lot of damage, right? If you have a respiratory condition and you have a respiratory virus, it can actually cause respiratory scarring. Your lungs could get scarred, right? And then you'd have immunity after, but you'd suffer with, scarred lungs. Or, wherever the virus might attack you, some people might get ear infections and then they might lose their hearing, but then they'll get the immunity. So the idea behind vaccines is we'll give you a piece of that virus or bacteria. We'll let your body understand how to fight it without you having to suffer the full effects of the virus or bacteria. Okay, so essentially you're just updating the memory that's stored in your system.
I think that was perfectly summed up for the layman to understand and those who are educated. Look, I'm going to move off vaccines and go down further the lifespan of an individual, and specifically men, and now some women too, I believe. Peptides. BPC 157, CJC, just Retta, Ozempic. There's a lot of it's the new SI. Peptides are the new SI.
It's the newest trend.
It's the newest trend, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of synthetic peptides from China which are being sold off the market.
Keep in mind, peptides are not that new. They've just recently become a trend.
They're definitely, like Steve Danks when he was done with the Sharks in, I think, 2010. He was done for doing peptides for elite athletes, right? But now we have it's new in the sense that it's more common on the street to get access to peptides, right? A large importation of peptides in this country. So if we start with Ozempic and retatrutide, is it dangerous to take in these peptides?
I think every single drug or every single medicine, should I say, is dangerous if it's not monitored properly. I mean, we see medication side effects all the time, even when they are monitored by a doctor or a healthcare professional, right? So now what we're doing is we're introducing medications and drugs that are being taken without the guise or supervision by healthcare professionals, right? So, I mean, it's a dangerous mix. And the worst thing is we don't know much about them.
Okay.
So I want to circle back to the 2020s. Do you remember how much vaccine hesitancy we had towards the COVID vaccine?
A lot.
Everyone was like, we don't know the long-term effects. It's not tested properly. We don't know this and that. You're putting a foreign substance in your body. But now in the same breath, we're all like, everyone get on the glow stack. Let's all start jabbing up. Skip the gym, hit the Retta.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
The Retta jab.
So
there's instant results.
Yeah.
Like I know elderly who their son put them on.
Do you know what else shows instant results? Meth. You want to lose weight? Do some meth. Have you seen how skinny a meth addict is? Which doesn't mean it's good for you, right? And the fact of the matter is, I mean, let's make the comparison to COVID vaccine. The COVID vaccine, they did trials, massive trials, right? And by thousands and millions of professionals, and it was injected globally. So we saw, and again, with 5 years down the track, everyone's fine, everyone's living. Right?
But then they linked it to myocarditis in adults. Yeah.
So, and because we did these studies, we were able to see the side effects, right? What are the side effects of all these, glow stacks and the copper peptides and this and that? We don't know, right? We don't know because we don't have the large scale results, right? And that's what's important when we introduce any drug. We do it under medical supervision so we can see the side effects. I'm not saying that there's no side effects. I'm saying we don't know what they are, right?
I've seen those videos as well.
And 60%, and this is the dangerous part, right? Because as you said, they're getting imported from China and this and that. 60% of these online peptides that people are, advertising, the label does not match what's inside.
It's a fake label.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or should I say fake product, right?
Fake product.
Yeah, they'll say there's X milligrams of this product. They take it to the lab, they test it, it's mixed with something else. All right? Because it's not regulated. So I'll teach you about something. This is coming from pharmacy knowledge. If you go into any pharmacy and you pick up any product, there's a number at the bottom of the bottle or the box. It will say OST-L or OST-R, right? And then there's a number. And that number can link you back to the TGA approval and the studies that showed that it's safe and it's efficacious, right? Anything with OST-L means that it's got quality standard of testing. So the product matches the label and it's also safe within the limits of what it is, right? These products don't have the OST-L or OST-R.
Can peptides like Retta and Ozempic be compounded from a pharmacy?
They can, but even what's compounded doesn't have the OST-L or OST-R. I'm talking large-scale manufacturing with individual testing. So compounding in a pharmacy is Mustafa in the back cooking some drugs, right?
Oh, okay.
You can't trust what I'm doing.
Even though it's a pharmacy?
You can.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm saying on a large scale.
On a large scale, okay.
But on a large scale, you have to have massive companies that have to be approved. The facility has to be approved. So it's not just someone cooking in the backyard.
Okay.
And it has to be of certain hygiene standards. It has to be sterile because, again, you're injecting it.
It's not just like, as you said, in the back in the shed, in the oven, cooking up testosterone,
exactly.
testosterone and peptides.
Yeah. So
with oil from
the kitchen, the olive oil. No, it needs to be of a certain standard, right?
Okay.
And it needs to be repeatable. So if I get this product here and this product here, they need to be exactly identical. It's not like this one has good quality, this one has bad quality, right? Which, I mean, if you ever done any cooking, make one batch of cookies, another batch of cookies.
It's true.
They'll turn out different, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't standardize it. But these are the things that we don't talk about. But we have these influences coming out. And this is the sad thing about our society. We don't understand the levels of evidence. So when it comes to the levels of evidence, the highest level of evidence is something called a randomized controlled trial, right? And the lowest form of evidence is anecdotal evidence. Anecdotal evidence is I say, trust me, bro, this works well. And randomized controlled trial is like there's 1,000 people testing this, and then we have a whole number of different people coming in, and some people are put in a group where they have the drug, some people don't have the drug, and no one knows who has the drug, and then you just measure the results to see which one works and which one doesn't work, right? But unfortunately, the general populace trusts the anecdotal evidence. If I come on with my scrubs and I say, this is the best thing ever, people will trust me over this scientific paper that has all these results on it.
So are you for peptides or against peptides?
For the time being, I think there needs to be more research.
So you have hesitancy, right?
Yeah, of course. I wouldn't prescribe it.
You wouldn't prescribe
I wouldn't prescribe it.
What about TRT? Testosterone replacement therapy. So the idea of a male in his late 30s, early 40s, taking enough TRT at a lab, not necessarily a doctor, to make him feel like how he was when he was in his 20s.
Yeah, so there's good evidence that TRT is useful in the right conditions, right? If you give it to a young, healthy male like myself that has normal testosterone, that has normal, gonadism, whatever, it's pretty bad for me.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But if we're giving it to someone who's, let's just say in their 60s, where their natural testosterone starts to decline, keep in mind this is a male hormone that is, for males, is required, right? If it has a natural decline, TRT is good. I mean, you need to bring someone up back to their normal levels for them to function normally.
At what age would you suggest for men who want to explore TRT?
Typically when you lose libido, lose drive, gain a bit of weight, I would recommend getting some blood work done and to see if your levels are normal. And I'd say start off at a GP. If you're not comfortable with those results, go to an endocrinologist, which is like a hormone specialist.
That's right.
And see what the doctors say. But no, don't just go to the gym and see the biggest guy there and ask for some tests.
Oh. Well, taking just quickly, because this is another like a can of worms, but going to that guy in the gym and taking a cocktail mix of, let's say, testosterone and masterin, right, and whatever the other one is, trimbolin, for example. I don't think that's a mix, but
sure.
What negative effects can it have on an like, for example, someone he's 22 years old, right? So his test should be through the roof. He should be bouncing off brick walls. He jumps on that cocktail mix, right?
Mm.
Then he goes to his other mate and he gives him Pregnol post psychotherapy.
Yep.
What?
So look, inappropriate levels of testosterone in a young healthy male can lead to systemic issues, right? So let's start with the biggest one. Your heart is a muscle. Your heart will grow. So having I mean, do you remember Ziz? Right? This is the issue he had. So when you get an enlarged heart, it won't be able to relax as much because it's just such a big tense muscle. You have an enlarged heart, it won't be able to relax, therefore it can't fill up with blood properly, and it can't beat and distribute that blood properly either. Right? Long-term use of testosterone can lead to heart failure. Number one, it's the most important thing. It's the thing keeps you alive. Right? Secondly, there's the cosmetic things. So we have things like the hair loss.
That's right.
Right? You start balding. Have you seen someone on tests in their 30s and 40s? They look old.
Yeah.
They actually look old.
Especially if they're on GH.
Yeah, right? Their face will get wrinkly and they just look, their skin becomes thick. They get heaps of oil production of the skin. If you remember what it was like being a teenager, you always had oily skin.
That's right, yeah.
So they'll get heaps of really bad acne, which again can get worse. They can become cysts. Like a cascade of things can go wrong.
Okay.
And these are just cosmetic issues, right? But you can also have issues on the liver as well. If not done properly, not injected properly, you can have injection site reactions, right? You can have, because you're injecting oil essentially most of the time. And if that oil is not sterile, that can form a cyst, can become, septic, and you can get infections. A whole range of things can happen. And the worst thing of all, and this is the worst thing for the young males, some males will say, I'd rather die than get this, right? But you get the hypogonadism. Shrinks your testes.
Gyno. Not the gyno.
You get gyno as well.
Yeah.
There you go.
So this is different to gyno.
Yeah. So you get man boobs.
Yeah.
In layman's terms, right?
What's the full name of gyno?
Gynecomastia.
Yeah. So other than gynecomastia, you get
hypogonadism.
Oh wow.
So your testicles, they produce the testosterone.
Yeah.
That's where the name comes from. Because they realize, hey, I have high levels of testosterone. I don't need to work anymore. You don't use it, you lose it. They shrink and they...
See, that was a theory that I learned in my 20s.
Yeah.
And it's actually true.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
It says literally, I've got so much production of test, I don't need to work anymore.
Yeah.
Then what happens when you jump on Pregnol? So on the streets I'm talking about.
Yeah. So look, that's meant to... The off cycle is meant to reduce the likelihood of getting, the feminizing, symptoms of gynecomastia and hypogonadism. But it doesn't always work, right? Sometimes you see it. Like, look at some of these bodybuilders. You got little lumps and you don't know what's going on downstairs. You don't want that, right? And then you end up infertile. What's the point? Just so you can look good for 10 years,
Wow.
Die at 60, 70.
Look, there's so many things that I want to talk about, but we'll leave it for another time.
You don't talk about chiropractors?
I do want to talk about chiropractors, but what's the grudge that you have with chiropractors?
I don't have a grudge.
You don't have a grudge against chiropractors?
I don't have a grudge against anyone.
So what?
Do you want to know the tea?
Hey?
You want to know the tea?
I'll spill the tea right now.
I'll tell you.
Because we had Dr. Ned on in January.
Yeah.
And
all respect to Ned.
Okay.
He's a great guy. I've met him. He's a nice guy, respectful man.
Yeah.
I don't have any issues with it.
Do you have an issue with cracking?
I have an issue with the field itself.
Okay.
So in medicine, we've talked a lot about studies, right? In medicine, we practice something known as evidence-based medicine.
That's right.
All right. So we don't give a treatment unless we know there's evidence behind it. We know the pros and the cons. We know what's good for it, what's bad for it. Because we talk about, I'm not saying there's no side effects in medications. I'm saying that we know what they are. With chiropractics, there's not a lot of evidence. So do you know the theory behind chiropractics?
I know that it was it began about 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. So in the 1800s, there was this American guy.
Yeah.
Who believed in there's people who believe in all this spiritual stuff, right? Like magnetic healing and all this artsy-fartsy stuff. So he had a dream once where a ghost came to him and told him if you crack people's backs, and this is very simplified, you can Google this, crack people's backs, it can treat them, right? So he came up with chiropractics. Now the theory is, this is the theory of how it works, is they imagine the spine like a channel of water. You can imagine, or like a hose, right? And that hose connects all the organs. And if you have an impinging hose, there's not enough water that gets to the area, right? So they talk about impinging nerves or subluxation, where the spine is pressing against that particular nerve that stops the supply to that area. Therefore, that area is not working well. So, for example, they talk about like bedwetting, right? They'll try to crack someone's back to stop the bedwetting because they think the nerves that are connected to the bladder.
In the sac joint.
Yeah, right. They think those nerves are impinged or there's an issue with them. But the studies show that's not a thing. Like there's no relation. And your nerves are not like a pipe that holds water that when it's pinched doesn't supply enough water to the area. It's more like an electrical cable, right? If you squeeze an electrical cable, nothing's going to happen.
You're putting chiropractors out of business now.
I am, right? But I don't have an issue when it comes to musculoskeletal conditions.
Okay.
Because there is evidence behind chiropractics and musculoskeletal conditions. That's fine, right? You got a sore back, you do some chiropractic work, some stretches, some movements, whatever, that's fine. There's good evidence behind that. But the lacking of evidence is when they start to delve into other realms. They say they can treat your allergies by cracking your back. They'll say that they can help your asthma. They'll say they help your gut issues, right? And then I've seen them go as far as to say, they start talking about vaccinations and this and that. It's not your scope.
Stick to your scope.
Stick to your scope. I said earlier on that I'm fairly junior in my medical career, even though I've studied for 10 years. I'm fairly junior. I can admit that. And in doing so, I'm not going to go to a cancer patient and tell them how to treat their cancer.
Wow.
Because I'm not an oncologist. That's not my specialty, right? I'm going to stick to what I know. As a pharmacist, I'm going to stick to medications. I'm not going to be a sports therapist and say, do this stretch and do this exercise. No, that's a physiotherapist scope, right? That's a chiro scope. My issue is with the scope creep.
I think you can label them as scope creep.
Scope creep, yeah. So they'll try to spread and whatever. And then they'll go so far as to say that they know as much as medical doctors. All right, or they'll go as far as to say, oh, we're just like medical. Don't compare yourself to a medical doctor because you're not a medical doctor. Compare yourself to a chiropractor.
I've gone to a few chiropractors in my time and found great results, right? But I've also seen some dud chiropractors who, what was that term that you used?
Scope creep?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got scared from or overwhelmed from the things they said they can, like I've got scoliosis, right? And they were guaranteeing that they'll straighten my back in 6 months.
You can't.
And it stayed the same.
Do you know what cracking your back does or cracking any bone does? You're releasing gas from that joint, right? And after a few minutes, you can crack it again. Do you know why? Because that same gas that you released can go back into that joint. So what have you done? How does that change the alignment of anything, right? If cracking your joints can change the configuration of your bones, which it can't, then my hands will be disfigured because I've been cracking them.
What about all those ASMR videos?
Yeah, they're not going to have like weird crinkly fingers because, it doesn't change the alignment of anything, the configuration of anything. It just releases gas.
So how do we have all these chiropractors graduating from universities?
I mean, what they're taught in university isn't that they can treat all these conditions. It's what they do outside of university. And my issue is the lack of regulation as well around chiropractors. Sometimes, you see online, they say, oh, I'm Dr. such and such, come, listen to me. And they start talking about all these things and they don't disclose what kind of doctor they are. They don't say that I'm a doctor of chiropractics, I'm a doctor of naturopathy, I'm a PhD in philosophy, right? They just say doctor. And when someone says doctor, they automatically
GP.
think, yeah, medical doctor.
We need another pod just for chiropractors. Thank you for coming on Chronicles of Faith.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. I look forward to seeing you soon.